Okay, so this is the quick bits of bits and banter for Bachelorette episode 2. So this is for you guys that don't want to watch my whole review, which is like 45 minutes of the Bachelorette episode 2, okay? So quick bits of bits and banter. I think Sam M is a game player. He is finding ways to kind of, while he's talking out of two sides of his mouth, just like he was at the end of the episode, he's talking about how Devin is disrespectful. He's going off about it. He pretty much gets, even though Spencer was going to go talk to Jen and interrupt Devin's time, he has Thomas go do it. He can tell Thomas is upset. He can tell Thomas is drunk. And I think that's why he's like, no, Thomas is going to do it. He knew that Spencer was actually going to be calm and he didn't want that. And then when he gets his time and interrupts Thomas after Thomas had gone off on Devin, which wasn't a good look. Let's be real, Thomas. It wasn't a good look. And Jen had just pretty much told Thomas off about being like, hey, you can't make these decisions for me. I get what you're saying, but you actually, by making this list of who was going to talk to me first, that took away my autonomy. So he interrupts and he's like, hey, Sam interrupts Thomas. And he's like, hey, Jen, I was upset about, I didn't like that I didn't get enough time with you, but I trust the process and I trust your decision making. And you know what? I'm just happy we have time now. So I'm chill. And then straight up goes downstairs and starts yelling at Devin again. This guy's playing games. There, he has his own level of toxicity there. Thomas M, also toxic. He at the end, before he got picked, he's like, if I don't get picked, I'm going to go off. What do you mean? What are you going to do, Thomas M? What are you going to do? That, for me, there's something about him. It's scary. He got a little bit too pissed off. The way that he was coming at Devin didn't make any sense. He was way too riled up. Way too riled up. So I honestly think he's got to go. He's got to go. Devin also needs to go. This whole episode, I feel like, yes, I agree with Grant, who ends up saying that that Devin is, hey, he respects the hustle. He's just here for his girl. I agree. I don't think he needs to make friends. I do think that if it was me, I would want a partner that could get along with people. And it seems like Devin is just really not able to course correct to kind of get along. The whole time he interrupts a group date, pulls her aside. I don't think that's horrible, but you could tell the men are upset. Okay. Then after Aaron, we'll get to Aaron. After Aaron has pretty much, they have their argument, he interrupts Aaron's date with some ice cream. That's number two. Then he does, even though he told all the guys that he would respect their time, which I understand, I think he thought that meant like I wasn't going to interrupt anybody, he pulls Jen first. So there is a level of this where he's just really not able to get along. And I think if I was him, I don't think you need to completely change your personality, but I do think it would make sense for him to be a little bit more kosher, a little bit more, get along type, meaning like, let's not pull her first. And I don't think he needs to pull her first. He's made a lot of big impressions on her. He would have been fine if he didn't pull her first. But whatever. Aaron needs to go also. First, him pulling Devin. Now I'm calling him Dylan. If you're going to tell somebody off, know their name, okay? After the whole ice cream thing, he did not need to pull Dylan. The whole push and pull that they had during that whole ice cream situation, him interrupting Devin interrupting Aaron, then Aaron interrupting Devin, that whole push and pull thing was inappropriate. If I was Jen, I would have been like, these are boys, not men. That whole thing for me was ridiculous. Then when he went and talked to him afterwards, and he's doing basically a character assassination, or before the ice cream thing, he's pretty much telling him, you're selfish, you're this. You don't need to talk to him. He's not your friend. You don't need to be like, get him to understand his wrongs. Like, just focus on you and focus on Jen. Then he does it again and still can't get his name right, calling him Dylan. And then he's like, I'm really rooting for you. So here's this self-help book. So passive aggressive, so passive aggressive. And this was also after Devin actually ended up apologizing a little bit, being like, hey, you know what? I probably could have handled things differently with the ice cream, but I did feel some sort of way about you, saying that I had a bad character. So I think that would have been a point for him to be like, you know what? You're right. They could have squashed things. You know what? You're right. I shouldn't have said that about your character. I was upset. I appreciate you noticing that what you did was kind of not okay either. And then they could have been fine, but he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to do that. I love Hakeem. He's so funny. I don't think she's going to pick it, but he's so funny. The snake thing and him be like, get that thing off my neck. That was hilarious. I love him. I think it's actually Dylan. Actually, Dylan had a date with her, and that was really sweet. And him talking about his dad, he got a rose. And then her date with Marcus was really sweet, and him talking about his time. I don't know where he was, but his time in the army and how he ended up, like, there was this big grenade that went off, and he ended up having to been an inpatient for months and had to learn how to walk. And now that changed his mindset into trying to want to, live for every day, want to have a partner who's there for him and wants that whole life. So it really let us see who Marcus was. And that was really, really nice. I really like that. I do feel like the individual dates were really positive. We got to see a little bit more about Dylan and how he was raised. Pretty much he's a romantic. His father, every time his mother walked into the car, put their wedding song. It just was very sweet. And he really wants a family and all that stuff. He just passed his MCATs. He's a long road ahead of him for school. So, I've said this before, but I'm a little bit like, you got to know if you're ready for that type of life to date somebody who's in medical school, because it's a long road. And that it's basically can be up to like 7 years. It's 7 years, between school, residency, stuff like that. It ends up being 7 years. It's a long time, and they don't have a lot of time. So you really only have this time to get to know them. And then during the Bachelorette season. And then after that, they're going to go to medical school. And then, so for me, I'm not sure, but I do like him as a person. And I think the other group date was the first one was just overshadowed basically by Devin and all his antics and Aaron and him having to tell him off. But also the fact that they did this comedy thing, it couldn't be me. I'm just letting you know it couldn't be me. I'm not going up on stage and not prepared and just reading something off. And basically all the men just roasted Devin, and then Devin roasted the guys. That was it. That was basically the show. She has the most chemistry with Sam M, but I don't really trust Sam M yet. I just don't. And the next look, it seems like she gets pissed and maybe kicks somebody off, but this might be just them trying to get us roped in. I don't know. And yeah, so I think that's it. So these are my quick, short thoughts on everything if you don't want to watch my whole review. And so that was a Bachelorette episode 2. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. I love these little chats of ours. Love you, mean it. Bye.